What's up, everyone? This is Fuego Steve. I don't know what's going on. I keep having problems with these live feeds. If it's not my desktop audio, it's another audio. And if it's not this screen, it's that screen. And I'm not a technical guy, and it's always something. So, here we
You're
are
killing
with.
it, Fuego. Honestly, at the very least, we got that sick picture I'm looking at right now.
Yeah, I like that Scout Fantasy sports picture there. It's pretty good. But we are not going to go game by game today because there's just so many games. We're going to break it down a little differently today. Um, I just wanted to tweet out one thing while we're doing this. We're going to talk about pitchers. We're going to talk about some stacks, and
There's some nice wind going out. I got a couple nice under owned sneaky stacks. I think that will be under 5%, taking down GPPs. We got a lot of good stuff today.
I hope so. Yeah, I hope ownership spread out with so many games. But we'll see. I do think there are going to be some higher owned teams, as usual, just because they're more popular teams in general. But let's talk about some of the big pitchers today. We got a lot of stud pitchers on the slate. Both sites all over 10,000 is Max Scherzer, Chris Sale, Clayton Kershaw, Justin Verlander, and Noah Syndergaard. Personally, I'm fine with the first four and staying away from Noah versus Atlanta. If you want to play Verlander, Kershaw, Sale, or Scherzer, I'm completely fine with any one of them on either site. But I'm going to stay away from Syndergaard. Which of those guys? I think you're going to be fading one of them, right? And talk for a second. I'll be right back.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to be fading a couple of these guys. I have a couple of great plays, and I'm going to stick to the BVPs today. I've been really hitting. What I've been doing is calling 5 games every night and seeing if those 5 games are consistently hitting, just to see if the BVPs are consistent and the patterns are staying consistent in terms of what I want out of the players, production, wind, etc. So I do look at my results after the slate, and I kind of recap and see how everything went. So for the past 3 nights, I've hit 4 out of 5 on picking games, and the fourth night ago, I hit a 5 for 5 parlay. So I have been finding merit in picking games and really looking at why I did things after, and then kind of deconstructing my lineups. But that's just something I've been doing. It's been helping my game a lot. But for tonight, the 5 games that I really stick out to me are the Washington Nationals. I really think they're going to win by more than 2. And I'm just saying this in terms of betting, in terms of fantasy. It's all relevant. I'm stacking the Washington Nationals. Also, I like Scherzer. With that said, I also think the Brewers are going to turn it around today. They've been hitting very poorly up until yesterday, and then yesterday they kind of got their bats going. So they do look like a nice stack today as well. Also, the Arizona Diamondbacks. You're going to think I'm crazy, but against Kershaw, they're at a plus 160 right now. You can stack those Diamondbacks for a sneaky GPP stack. The Cleveland Indians and the Texas Rangers.
I laugh at that, but go ahead.
Well, it's the 6-10 game, but I'm laughing because are you laughing because it's a 6-10 game, or because of the fact that I think it's going to be a 1-0 game?
No, that I wouldn't stack against Clayton Kershaw.
I would never stack Cleveland or Rangers. I was going to say
no, the Diamondbacks against Kershaw.
Oh, that's just a sneaky stack. But the fact is, you have wind blowing out. Cock. He has been pitching well. You have a Dodger team that, without Seager, hits extremely poor. You have a Diamondbacks team that has not lost a series this year. Think about that. They have not lost a single series. And just taking all that into account, I can see the Diamondbacks winning 1-0. I don't think I'm stacking this game. I don't think I'm playing Kershaw, but I do think the Diamondbacks could win this game. I think they could win 1-0, and I could also see them going for 3 or 4 home runs. And if you happen to have those four guys, I don't think you'll get massive upside here, but Kershaw does let up the home run ball when he does pitch poorly. So I do think the Diamondbacks are a sneaky stack. And my last game are the Seattle Mariners. I do think with the Mariners and the Washington Nationals, those are two of my favorite stacks today.
So you like Scherzer? Do you like Sale or Verlander? Sounds like you don't like Kershaw, even though you think
No,
he's going to not allow more than one run, or maybe he will.
The thing with Kershaw is it's different to think about him fantasy game wise, betting wise, because I think he could have 10 strikeouts on any given day. But I think about it for value for DFS. When you have a Diamondback team as hot as they are, yes, the BVPs are amazing, but you have wind blowing out and you have a hot Diamondbacks team. Don't take the chance there and pay up for Kershaw. I think that there's other pitchers that you can take, and I think you could kind of stack these teams and then rotate pitchers out. So I don't think you have to run one lineup with Kershaw. I think you have options at the pitcher, and I think you can stack a couple of these major teams like Washington. They'll be highly owned and very expensive, and I do think Seattle will be relatively highly owned as well. But I do think these are teams you're going to want a piece of today. So
what other pitchers do you like then?
I'm going to read through it real quick. The BVPs, I do see it's tough because I want to go to Chris Archer because he can strike out every single one of those Detroit guys. But
I
with
like
my
Chris
lineup,
Archer. Yep.
But the thing is, with my lineup construction, it's not really working out with the major stacks. I'm falling about 100 short, 100 to 600 short with my favorite lineups. So unless I compromise somewhere, I might not be able to go to him in my single entry, but I do like him for tonight's slate. You got him going up against a bunch of righties. I mean, yeah, the BVPs aren't great, but it's a huge stadium in Detroit, and I think that he can strike out 10 Detroit batters tonight. And then other pitchers I don't mind are Chase Anderson, DK pitcher number 2. If you stack Milwaukee, definitely wouldn't go Homer Bailey. Like I said, I'm going to be stacking this Milwaukee game on DK. I'm probably going to go 5-player stack with the pitcher. So I would not play Homer Bailey. You're going to see the Milwaukee numbers the strikeout numbers be high, but I would not take a chance on Homer Bailey, especially in Cincinnati. Great American ballpark, very nice place to hit home runs, especially if the wind is blowing out. And then, yeah, I'm staying away from Syndergaard for sure with those BVPs with Atlanta. And they're playing in New York, which is better than SunTrust Stadium, but I still wouldn't pay for Noah Syndergaard. I love Jacob Junis. He's just a great pitcher, but it's obviously a GPP play. Sale has the strikeouts as well as the BVP batting averages, allowed batting averages. So I don't mind going to Sale. Kansas City used to be a team that didn't strike out, but this year I think you're going to start seeing them strike out more. Sale is a lefty going up against some righties that can hit it over the green monster. I think the only one I would be nervous about is Sal Perez. Other than that,
he hits him well. I like Michael Wacha as an SP2. You could play him. Andrew Suarez is only 5,400 on DraftKings.
Kyle Hendricks. If this game was in Colorado, I'd be nervous. But it's in Chicago. Let me see if the wind's blowing in.
Staying away from pitchers like James Shields and Zach Eflin, Kyle Gibson, Homer Bailey, Estrada. I may target with Minnesota. Probably staying away from Alex
we're supposed to go to video, guys, and I got this stupid X on the floor with tape because Fuego's got me sitting 6 feet to the right of this freaking microphone.
I can't help your audio video setup.
I know, it's freaking crap. And this girl came over. I got this freaking tape on the floor. She's wondering like I'm gonna drop an anvil on her head. Yeah, the wind. Let me check this out real quick because if that wind is blowing out, DFS,
where?
Chicago.
It is. Last I looked, 16 miles per hour winds out.
I still like Hendricks. Let me see if these BVPs are because of a recent game. So right now, I guess I'm boiling it down to fading the top guys except for see, like it's not that I'm fading Scherzer, it's that he's 11-5. I guess I'd go Chris Sale at 11-3, and then next, honestly, I tend to forget about this, but Verlander is a great play tonight.
Yeah, I like him. I think he.
The Yankees are the Yankees are striking out a lot.
Yeah, I think you could play him, and he should be lower owned going against the Yankees. He's pitched really well, and I mean, it's not like he's. I mean, he played the Twins, who aren't really an offensive juggernaut. Rangers, Angels, did well against all three of those guys. Orioles got to him a little. White Sox got to him a little, but he still pitched pretty well. Almost 100 pitches every game, 9 Ks, 11 Ks, 9 Ks, 9 Ks. So the Yankees team can strike out. So I'm okay with Verlander. I think I'm leaning Sale or Scherzer, and then Kershaw would be 1, 2, 3, something like that.
Not to interrupt you, but the
And then
Yankees
I do
can
like
strike out.
Archer.
The Yankees can do more than strike out. They can strike out massively, and sometimes their big numbers, their run numbers, cover up their strikeout numbers. But just to be clear, the Yankees over the last 7 games have the fourth most strikeouts in the league. I'm sorry, I apologize. They have the most strikeouts in the league at 83. The second best or the second worst is Boston at 68. The Yankees are striking out a ton.
There you go. So there's and Verlander isn't some of these other pitchers. He can get them if we need them. Yeah, I
Looking
mean
at
on
these stats,
FanDuel
guys.
playing one of these guys is probably ideal. Then you drop to Chris Archer.
No, I'm looking at this right now.
Yeah.
Lock him in. Verlander. No, seriously.
Is that a anti Homer Yankee call?
Well, I know the Yankees. I know they strike out. You got Jordan Montgomery, which will pitch an average game, but he will let up 2 home runs every single game. There'll be the 2 righties. You won't know which ones, but he does it all the time. Granted, he does it in New York, but Houston's just as. I mean, that left field, I always see it going straight over the that train. So I assume that left field wall isn't too high, nor is it too close. I could check it out right now, but I don't think Houston comes in on the stadium factor too poorly. So Justin Verlander, look at the consistency he has. As long as he keeps the ball in the ballpark, I say lock him in. I love Ver. Look at this. Look at his consistency, and he faces the Yankees team that's striking out 20% more over the last 7 games than any other team in the league.
Yeah, I am.
And they're cold. The Yankees have lost 2 out of their last 2 or their last 3.
Yeah, I can get behind that. That is fine with me.
What is? Do you have the Yankees have lost?
I don't have it in front of me.
Well.
But either way, we both
aren't
agree
on a
that
losing-
he's in.
No, well, the Yankees are playing well. They're losing to the Astros, which I'll take in a season or in the first series in a all the way in Houston. I'll take this all day. I love this Verlander play.
Yeah, he's good ballpark for pitchers at home, favored strikeouts, etc. So,
lock him in. I wish.
All right. Any other DraftKings? I mentioned Suarez at 5,400 for San Fran going against San Diego, real cheap if you wanted to. Estrada, if you wanted to hedge off of, if you're playing Minnesota, who we'll talk about in a second. Chase Anderson, if you want to hedge off Cincinnati, who I'll talk about in a second as well, are 2 teams I like. But
I'm going to limit my plays to 3 players. Chris Sale all the way at the top, which is my least favorite of the 3. My most favorite is Justin Verlander, and my second favorite is Kyle Hendricks. Kyle Hendricks, look at those numbers he's putting up, man. Colorado's been playing extremely poor. He did play them 2 weeks ago in Colorado and let up 3 earned runs, struck out 6 of them, and went 5 innings, and he only allowed 5 hits. I'm assuming those 5 hits were home runs. He got the win and did not get the quality start, 30 points. Since then, he's had 46 points against Milwaukee, and now he's going home. If that win shifts a little bit, lock in some Kyle Hendricks as well. But Justin Verlander, to be clear, has the upside. Hopefully he's lower owned at 10-8 when you have all these other pitchers sitting around.
I get it though in the Kyle Hendricks thing. I get it. That's for sure. Like you mentioned, it was in Colorado, but see, that's the problem. If that wind's blowing out, that would make me nervous. I think I'd rather maybe,
Chicago's really bad for that.
yeah, yeah,
I mean, we didn't go to the stadium. We were there, like me and you, like a couple feet away, but we didn't get to experience that wind. But I've been told it's very bad.
yeah. Some popular stacks tonight. I think the Red Sox will be popular. They're expensive. They've been playing well. Um, who did I put in my article? The Cubs against John Gray. They played well against him in Chicago, in Colorado a couple days ago. Now, if we get the win, I think they'll be popular. Cardinals go against James Shields, who I'm always okay with targeting James Shields. I think people are in general, so I think the Cardinals. I like the Reds. I like the Twins. I don't know how low owned they are. I listed them low owned in my article, but I like the Reds tonight, and I like the Twins. I like the Brewers playing against the Reds. I like the Cardinals. You like the Twins, Cardinals, Reds?
No, like I said, I'm gonna keep it kind of mellow and stick to these great BVPs that I see. Um, the first one I mentioned was Milwaukee. You have Pena betting sixth. He's got a 571 average, 2 home runs, 4 hits on 7 at bats. Um, he does have 2 strikeouts there, but so does every Milwaukee player. Then you have Lorenzo Cain batting 600 in 5 at bats with 2 doubles. And then you have a 340 average for Ryan Braun batting third in 47 at bats. He's got 4 home runs, 4 doubles. That I actually don't love. In 47 at bats, you don't love to see 4 home runs and 4 doubles. Then you have Aguilar. He's batting 333 with a double in just 3 at bats. That's obviously one game. You have Christian Yelich batting 286. It kind of
Yeah, I
ends
like
there.
Milwaukee too. Yeah, they got some good
No, but I mean,
BVP,
pairing that with the
but
win
they're
from
low with
Cleveland,
bats, So, but yeah, I like Milwaukee. Who else do you like?
and that Seattle game. I really love Seattle. Let me get to these BVPs real quick. Um, I think you could also go to Philly. They're kind of like a minor league team. Like they got Hoskins just stealing bases left and right. I really love that. But let me read this Seattle game really quick.
I
I do
definitely I like some guys on Seattle, especially lefties. Go ahead. Go ahead.
yeah, I do like the Minnesota stack, but with that said, remember Kepler is playing very well. So just because he's 0-6, 0-4-6 versus Strada, don't let that change your mind on him. It's too small of a sample size. So I
I like
would,
Kepler. I like Grossman's
yeah,
going 2400
I
on
would
FanDuel
forget to
leading
roster.
off.
Don't
Yeah,
forget to roster Kepler. And then you go down here. I think, like I said, 2 people will hit home runs against Montgomery tonight. I think it'll be Gurriel and Correa. I have no problem stacking 3, 4, 5, or two,
are you
three.
gonna go full 4x4 stacks on such a big slate?
No, I'm sorry. Yes, but if I'm stacking Houston, no, I'm not. I can't stack 4 players for Houston. I only like the 3, 4 batters, and I would be playing the 5 or the 2 batter just to complete a 3-man stack. I actually don't love Houston against Montgomery. I just think he's going to let up 2 home runs, and that's it. Montgomery's a good pitcher, just to be clear. He just lets up a home run here and there. Michael Waka, I don't mind, but I don't like. He's just such a mediocre pitcher, no ceiling. I get the Kershaw thing. I know what you see. Like you see the BVPs and the strikeouts, but the truth is that's a big sample size. The only one that, like, I actually might stack Arizona in a large single entry tonight. Like normally I run the same lineup, but Arizona looks really appetizing. Specifically the 1, 3, 4, 5 batters.
Yeah. Okay.
Descalso, Goldschmidt, 4 is Pollock, and 5 is Owings. I think that's actually a stack for me. I know it's crazy, but if Kershaw implodes, is that the right word, by the way?
Sure.
All right. Well, if he if he does poorly, I do think Arizona will kill him, and they will win 10-0.
Yeah, I mean, for his standards, he's pitched poorly the past couple games. I just don't know if it's going to be three in a row. Like,
I think they're going to be higher owned than you think. I actually don't think they're going to be that low owned.
who? Arizona?
Yeah, I think you'll see that they're higher owned than you think they are.
Yeah, the multi-entry guys will for sure. Not in single entries or things like that. I don't see it being I don't see them being highly owned. Yeah, I just think of the multi guys and crazy people like you. Um, let's see. So Minnesota, Cincinnati stack. Yeah, you like Cincinnati versus Anderson?
I like these Milwaukee bats, and in my DK lineups, I'm kind of stacking Milwaukee with Anderson because it just makes sense. I like those 4 points for a win. But I
That's a
don't
good
mind
hedge because Anderson could have an okay game, and it is Cincinnati. So, like, I'm not going to hedge against Kershaw, but I could see more like you could play a Cincy lineup and a Chase Anderson lineup. But I like Cincy. Good prices, good spot for Anderson. Yeah. All right, go ahead. What were you? Did I interrupt you?
no, I was just gonna say Arizona. I mean, look, they have bad batting averages, but Kershaw is playing poorly, and it's a low owned stack on a 15 game slate. I mean,
Yeah, 14.
and like I said, if anyone is handicappers, you got Arizona at a great line, I believe. Let me check it out real quick, but
yeah, they're favored by I think it was a plus 160.
I'm looking it up right now. Yeah, it was plus 160. That's what I got it at.
Yeah. So
I'm assuming it went up though.
And I see the winds blowing in.
No, it was blowing to right. I hope it's still blowing to right.
I see it blowing in. Would that change your opinion if it's blowing in?
I mean, look, I'm not expecting a ton out of this stack. It's really not even.
What about this? One of some of these late. You said you like Seattle. What about Orioles?
Oh yeah, let me go through the Seattle game. It's an extremely small sample size, but
right, that's true. Yeah,
you have 4 players, the same 4 players with Zanino, but the 3 players that are always killing it: Cano, Cruz, and Haniger, and they're all batting 600. Cruz has 2 home runs, 3 for 5. Cano has 1 home run, 3 for 5, and Haniger is batting 600, 3 for 5. Right. Granted, it's five at bat sample size, but it is pretty crazy.
Yeah, versus Andrew Triggs of Oakland does not scare me.
And that's the middle of their lineup, and you can fill the 4-man stack with Mike Zunino.
I could see playing Angels late night versus Alex Cobb and the Orioles. Orioles just have not been impressive. Mentioned the Cardinal stack versus James Shields. Definitely like that. Minnesota. Lou likes Houston. Cubs will be popular. I'm probably going to stay away. Maybe a one-off, but with pitchers, I'm probably not going to stack up the Cubs. Maybe I'll draw to lower ownership with the higher price pitching. I think Atlanta versus Noah Syndergaard would be a sneakier sack that I'd rather do than versus Kershaw. This Miami Philly game is interesting because both pitchers aren't too good. Harlan Garcia versus Zach Eflin. So playing players from Miami and Philly could be sneaky. I did not mention that, Marco, but I think
and Philly steals. Remember that, guys. Philly steals bases. They steal bases like it's nobody's business.
Right. Do you like any of the Nats bats versus Chad Kuhl? You mentioned.
No, I hate Chad Kuhl. I said
right. So you like some of the Nats bats.
Oh yeah, Nats bats
like Trey Turner, bats, yeah. Matt Adams. Matt Adams is only he might be price on FanDuel batting third.
I love it. Look at it. Look at their BVPs. I mean, I know I always go to the BVPs, but it's where I start. And if I like the BVPs, then everything goes from there. Every stat I like, it's kind of like process of elimination. And I just love Philly because it's like rostering a minor league team, and that's what I love about them.
Some catchers, Tucker Barnhart, I like.
Wait, Fuego, did you actually name the Philly guys that have BVPs for everyone? Just really quick, it's the 1-3-6 hitters that have anything, but you're not really looking to Philly for BVPs today, but you're definitely going to want Hoskins if you roster any kind of Philly stack.
Yeah, I mean, they only have 24 total at bats as a team versus him.
Well, just like don't ever roster a Philly stack with no Hoskins is what I'm saying.
Right, right. And I did want to mention that the Sal Perez 17 off 60, 17 for 60 off for 283 average versus Sale with one home run. You had mentioned him earlier as a one off. Somebody they hit 273 against him, so they have hit him well in the past. In 271 at bats, about 273. Only 3 home runs, struck out 69 times. But back on topic, I like Tucker Barnhart. I like Yasmani Grandal. I like Manny Pena. I like I guess Mitch Garver now. I prefer Castro, the lefty, but he's not starting. It's Mitch Garver for Minnesota. Any other catchers? Rio Malto. Yeah, you could play him.
I think you want to fill that catcher slot with a 4-man Zunino stack.
All right.
No, I mean, the thing
it's not my favorite play of the day.
Seager is usually the guy that you go to. But, you're not going to go there today because he doesn't really have the stats, to back it up. So, I know it's crazy, but I'd rather fade Seager in the fourth man of that stack and go Zunino.
Okay, you can do that. I'd rather maybe pay up a little more or go down a little less than the 3,300 on DraftKings, for example. And with the way FanDuel is, I don't roster catchers too much, and if I do, it's usually a lower price catcher or it's a catcher in a really good spot. We mentioned Perez. Sal Perez is a little bit $100 cheaper on DraftKings if you're not playing Sale.
Wait,
Mitch Garver, I mentioned 31 on DK.
What do you think about
and Manny Pena 2,500 on DK? Go ahead.
What do you think about Toronto?
Yeah, they're okay. I don't mind some of the guys for Toronto. I just noticed an error in my article. I don't mind some of these guys for Toronto. Tescaro Hernandez, however you pronounce his name. Pierce, Justin Smoke. I think he's pretty cheap on DraftKings, for example. How much is he? He's only 3,400 on DraftKings, so I like Smoke. Pierce 3,300. First base, those are on FanDuel. Well, really on both, but switching over a little, you got Joey Votto, high end, like him. Hanley Ramirez, you can play. CJ Crone, Matt Adams, Joey Votto mentioned, Mitch Moreland, Matt Olson, Justin Smoke.
This is why I love FanDuel this year for this first base slot. By the way, if you think you're playing a bullshit catcher in Zunino, take a look at his stats. He's homered in 2 out of his last 4. I
didn't say he was a bullshit catcher. I just said I don't think
I'm not saying that, but everyone looks at Zunino in that 9 slot and they think like, he's a fill-in. But he's actually homered in 3 of his last 6.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's fair. Let's see. Any other first baseman? Crone, I mentioned. Zimmerman, maybe on Washington. Wilson Ramos at catcher. You could maybe go for Tampa Bay, righty versus lefty, Matt Boyd. Second base. Matt Carpenter, I like. Dozier's out, who I put in my article. He's out. Chase Utley, Howard Kendrick, Colton Wong. Say again.
These stacks work out nicely today.
I also like it as a mini stack day. I think you could do some mini stacks with the high-end pitchers as well, and pick and choose between the 14 games. Maybe do a 2-2-2-2, something like that. Maybe some 3-2-2, something like that. Cesar Hernandez, you could play. I mentioned Colton Wong, cheap, 2,400 on FanDuel. Third base, Suarez on Cincinnati. Travis Shaw, we mentioned. Daniel Robinson, Tampa Bay. You probably don't mind Descalso leading off for Arizona. Excuse me. Chris Bryant as more of a one-off versus John Gray for me. Rafael Devers, I like him. Any other third baseman I missed? Matt Duffy, Tampa Bay, 2,800 on FanDuel. Watch that win. You can always roster Nolan Arenado if it's windy there in Chicago. I like Andrelton Simmons and Trillington Simmons versus Cobb tonight for the Orioles. I think you pay down for Arcia for Milwaukee at 2,300. Jose Peraza for Cincinnati in play. Trey Turner if you want to play up. Xander Bogaerts, he's back. You could pay up for him at 3,700. I love Hechavarria leading off instead of batting ninth for Tampa Bay. He becomes in play at 2,900.
Sorry, Fuego. I'm here. You just were you just going on a rant? I was looking.
I'm just listing off some players at each position.
No, I mean you didn't look. The way my lineups are, everything's kind of working out nicely for me with Washington and Seattle. That's I'm trying to look at players to mention, but it's hard to say this, but on a 15-game slate, it's a smaller, reasonable pool than you think. No.
Yeah, I mean, we differ in a few areas, but yeah, I mean, there's definitely, I think you also add in the fact that there's the high end pitchers, so that's eliminating some of those lower end teams, So if you got 5-6 pitchers that are on the high end,
I just mean
they're against, so yeah, that makes sense.
I just mean in terms of lineup construction, you have
right, it's not like a wide open.
Well, you don't have a lot of players that I want at the same time in the same positions. The only position I'm really worried about is third base, and I think that's going to be a one-off for me. I have Cruz, Cano, and Seager locked in with Haniger. All right, and then I have Trey Turner, and I'm gonna make this Washington stack work. So I'm gonna do Trey Turner. And I might honestly make it makeshift. I want the.
We'll put Matt Harper. Adams at first base.
By the way, you see we got Bryce Harper leading off.
I did not.
Do you know why they're doing that?
Why?
Because they're just walking him, and now they can't walk the leadoff batter because then he's just gonna steal first and second. So if there's any day you want to throw Bryce Harper in your lineup, I believe this is the first day they're doing this. Because remember yesterday he got walked and he shook his head.
Yeah.
He was pissed off. So yeah, I do think that this is a great
that makes sense, and that's smart for them.
No, I mean that it's extremely logical. You can't walk the leadoff guy. They only put him on because Trey Turner gets these doubles, and then you have Bryce Harper with Trey Turner on second. Of course, you put Bryce Harper on.
Yeah, that's smart. And if he hits a home run, it's only going to be a solo shot.
So with that said, my lineup is not working with all these players, obviously, with Verlander. But, if you want Harper in, you can go down to Hendricks. I love Hendricks at 73. And he gives you that extra, salary to let you do what you want to do. So now I have Bryce Harper and Turner in the Seattle stack, and I'm able to somewhat make this work with minimal players granted. But I am going to make this work. Probably with an Arizona stack. Devin Marrero, number 8, batting 8 for that might be my one-off. Devin Marrero.
Oh my God! Good luck to you, brother.
Well, listen, I'm going to tell you real quick. This Arizona team is not one to sleep on this year. They're not.
I hear you.
Much. Look at their record.
I hope you stack them and they do well. As long as I have another lineup that doesn't do well, more power to you. It's not for me tonight.
Kershaw, you should normally see a stack for under 1%, under 2%, under 3%. You're going to see Arizona today at higher percentages, 5, 6, 10%. I really think so because it's not stupid. It's smart. Everything makes sense.
Okay, I don't know about 10%.
I'm telling you, it makes sense. I look at these stats all day, and I know the BVPs aren't there, but Arizona could have a great game today.
All right, no way they're 10%. I would bet you on that.
No, he's not going to be 10% in GPPs, but you might see him high owns in cash games. You might see him 50% owns in quadruple ups. It's that.
No,
kind of
I'm talking about Arizona's not going to be 10%.
In GPPs, no, but you might see him in cash games.
No, you would see them less owned in cash games.
No, I mean, dude, I like.
You're crazy. For you, maybe the general public's not playing Arizona against Kershaw.
By the way, I like to get under-owned stacks in cash games, just so you know, and I run them all in the same thing. But because when you play contrarian against all the major guys, you're the one with the different lineup, not them. But I don't do that on 15-game slates. But with that said, The easy way to do this to make your lineup construction better is to fade Bryce Harper, but it's gonna be such a tough fade, man.
Right.
But I'm just saying I am putting massive. If I had kids and I had a college fund for them, picture college fund money on Arizona money line because I do think that they will win this game tonight.
All right. Fair enough. Fair enough. You are scaring me nervous of commercial, but I just don't think they're gonna blow up or anything like that. So I don't think they're worth a stack for me. You meant,
Either way, Fuego. If I'm even talking about this and you're thinking
but
about
but before you said 1-0. Why would I stack a team that's gonna win
well,
1-0?
the thing I'm saying is like I think he'll let up some home runs, but it doesn't matter with him ever because he strikes out everybody. But obviously his BVPs are great. I just think that Arizona is playing so well. If they're ever going to beat him up, it's going to be tonight.
Right. I like the Sale, the Scherzer, Verlander. All right. Well, that's going to do it for today's edition of MLB Live at 5. Sorry, we're going to get this worked out eventually, at least by the time I die, maybe. If it's not one thing, it's another. But you still hear our picks and our plays, got our articles up. That's going to do it.
Well, really quick, guys, I just want to mention really quick, you got that $33 queue on FanDuel. You're going to want to get into that. If it's still open, I assume it's
full.
It's full. Wow. Is that the first, not the first 33, huh?
I think it's the first 33, yeah.
Yeah, wow. Well, with that said, sorry I was limited on picks, guys. I'm really just limited to Seattle, Washington, Arizona as a sneaky stack. And for my pitchers, Chicago Cubs, Kyle Hendricks, I love him, at 7,300 on FanDuel. But I love Justin Verlander, and I'm considering going to minimum price Washington stack just to get on Verlander.
Right. All right. Well, that's going to do it. For Jaguar Lou, I'm Fuego Steve. Get that money. Peace.